지금부터 2018
From now on,
커넥션을
we are
시작하겠습니다.
going to begin 2020 WDC Connection, hosted by Design Council Busan. I would like to welcome to today's event. Let me introduce myself. My name is Busan KNN No Seung-hye, host of today's event. It is my pleasure to meet with you all today.
네, 부산에 아주 기쁜 소식이
There's a very good
있습니다.
news to Busan, which is Busan is chosen as a World Design Capital in 2028. That means we are going to have a lot of celebration and also event for information exchange. I hope you find that today's event very fruitful for you. I would like to make a couple of announcements regarding today's event. In order to seamlessly communicate during this event, we provide you with a simultaneous interpretation. Please wear receiver so that you can receive the service. Please tune in channel 1 for Korean, channel 2 for English. If you find it difficult to use, please ask one of the staff members who are wearing black shirt if you don't know how to use it. So there are two sessions. During the first session, we are going to attend the lecture on the new fan experience created by design and technology, which will be delivered by CEO Jung Yong-chae. And in the second session, we are going to attend the lecture on creative regeneration that expands from small buildings to large neighborhoods, which will be delivered by design director from Binoy, Gregory Carver. So before we begin, I would like to introduce to you today's distinguished guest.
So let me introduce our distinguished guests. So whenever I call their names, make sure you give them a big round of applause. So first we have Mr. Jung Dong-hyun, Design City Policy Director. So please welcome him with a big round of applause. And next we have Mr. Park Seok-hwan, Design Council Busan Director. And we also have Mr. Seo Moo-sung from CEDIA, Southeast of Korea Design Industry Association, as well as Mr. Jung Yong-chae, CEO of /B/. And we have many distinguished guests, but because of time limitation, we are not able to introduce every one of them. So why don't we give a big round of applause for everyone who are here today.
감사합니다. 이어서 축하 말씀을 전해드리겠습니다.
And now I would like to invite Mr. Jung Dong-hyun, Director of Design City Policy at the Future Design Headquarters, Busan Metropolitan City. So please welcome him with a big round of applause. Hello everyone. My name is Jung Dong-hyun and I'm the Director of Design City Policy at Busan Metropolitan City. So at our metropolitan city, and as mentioned earlier by the MC, WDO designated Busan as a design city in 2028, and accordingly we will focus more on the design area in terms of budget as well as events. So we have many plans related to this, and I believe our citizens and related professionals will be able to benefit a lot by this policy movement. So basically, we want to create a city that is more inclusive in terms of design. So I hope you all join us in our efforts. And once again, congratulations on opening of this festival. So thank you so much for listening. So thank you so much for your speech, Mr. Jung Dong-hyun. And now we'll move on to the first presentation.
디자인과 테크가
So the first lecture will be on a new fan experience created by design technology, which will be delivered by CEO Chung Yong-jae from Slash by Slash. When he comes to the stage, please welcome him with a big hand. Good afternoon, everyone. It is my pleasure to meet with you all today. So, as its name, I believe the Festival 10월 is just a perfect venue to celebrate our design festival. I would like to thank Design City Council for inviting me to this event. As you can see from the title of my lecture, I'll be talking about a new fan experience created by design and technology. So, I've been working as a designer for the last 20 years, and I am running my own business, and also I've been solving a lot of design challenges. So, the way how I do the design thinking, the way how I solve design-related issues are what I would like to talk to you today. So, designer and also student, I hope you find my lecture very fruitful and also informative so that you can better run your business, and hope my lecture becomes very solid for all of you for your business and also your career as a designer. So I would like to share with you how I started my career as a designer and the experience that I worked for the previous company before I set up my business slash, and I would like to talk to you about the journey of my personal career. So as this lecture is a part of the festival, please sit back and also enjoy my lecture. So I'm sure that you find the name of my business unfamiliar. So this is a combination of a /B and / the name of my company is. So when I combine the first and also second /, it makes X, and I would refer to it as a combination and also collaboration. And I believe that my startup very much focuses design first and also design thinking. So whenever I meet with the business owner of the startups, I find that they want to do something big, and I believe that design is the strongest and powerful tool to resolve social issues. At the same time, it is a source of good solutions. So design first, design thinking are the spirit of our business. So let me introduce myself. My name is Chung Yong-jae. So I'm sure that other startups pursue also a spirit of horizontal organizational culture. My English name is Alpa. Alpa and also Zone and also Jason, all of which are English names are given to the workers and also employees. We are very much equal and also very much horizontal organizational culture that we have. So the reason why my English name is Alpa is many people say that my voice sounds very calm, almost like a robotic, and many people say that I'm like the person without emotions. So they say that maybe you need to name yourself as Alpa, which is from AlphaGo. So hope that my lecture does not bore you. So, my major is communication design or visual communication. So after graduating from my university, I went to Samsung Electronics as a first company, and also I worked for UX design. After I left Samsung, I set up design agency, and then I came to establish /B/. So I worked for Samsung Electronics for 8 years, from 2010 to 2018. So I've been doing the UX design for Galaxy and also Android. And also, it's been 50 years since I set up my company /B/. As I mentioned earlier, before I set up my company, I worked for a lot of design-based work, so which became very good foundation for my company. Samsung Electronics is a tech company, and the experience that I worked for Samsung really helped me a lot to run my business. So when I first joined the Samsung, back then Galaxy One was just under development. So there were 20 people who worked for Galaxy S1, and I was one of the 10 team members who developed the Galaxy S1. So I was working on calendar and also diary application, including all of the UX design. Then we came to develop Alex S2, S3, and also S4, and so on. So I was in charge of a lot of UX, and then for the S3, multimedia, and also video, and also music players are the works, and also S7 and also 6, I was in charge of service UX, and also S8, I was in charge of overall design development. So I designed overall element for the Galaxy S8. Then for 8 years, I worked for Samsung. I designed Galaxy S series, which gave me a lot of experiences. Then I still found myself I want to do something more than I was just in charge. Then I was in charge of design, branding, and also collaborating with a lot of different brands. So do you recognize who these people are? Akmu, right? They are K-pop stars. And they first made a debut in K-pop Star audition, and they won the competition. So K-pop Star, that logo brand is what I designed after I left Samsung. And you can see these are famous people, the CEOs of the representative entertainment companies. And the logo of the K-pop Star is what I designed. So the O just looks like the circle, which is in the middle of our national flag. So I designed this kind of a graphic system, and literally I was in charge of decorating stage all the way to making this kind of a logo. I'm sure that you have watched at least one episode of K-pop Star series. So starting from designing this K-pop Star logo till I start up this /B/, I have done more than 100 branding, and also I have done agency-related business. So either experiential solution or a lot of designs, and also for SMEs and also SMBs, I have done a lot of logo design work for them. So for them to link their branding to their business, I learned a lot. There are so many branding work here. More than 100 I have done. I think less than half of the business survived. So I thought to myself whether branding is necessary and how can we link branding to really generating profit. I learned a lot. And then this is one of the things that we also have to resolve for our business as well. And also I've done the branding for Yongsan and Dragon City Hotel located in Yongsan. And also I have worked with entertainment companies, and also I have done a lot of design branding for different albums of singers and also celebrities. So as I mentioned earlier,
디자인 싱킹이라고 하는데요.
What will be design thinking? That is one of the elements that I emphasize a lot, because through design thinking we can enhance our capability of problem solving. So as a designer, I believe that we can really address the social issues as well as generate a profit for our business. So I believe that design thinking is very important. So for example, the delivery, our hero, the Kim, the CEO who set up that company, also he has a background as a visual designer, and he set up his business based on design thinking. That's how he made his delivery, our hero, very successful. So I believe that in every aspect, design thinking is very important. So let me further elaborate about design thinking.
디자인 싱킹이라고 하죠. 디자인 싱킹은
What's design thinking?
하나의 학문으로 이제 다뤄질 정도로
So design thinking is a very broad and also in-depth philosophy. And in the Stanford University, they do have a MA course dedicated to design thinking. As you can see from this slide, this is like a indefinite circles connected one another. It includes every concept like empathize, implement, and also prototype. So there's a virtuous cycle of developing new ideas and also verifying the ideas. Industrial revolution first began, and the same can be said of the design revolution that started from the UK. So I believe that in industrial revolution, also design revolution, design has been all the more important. So literally, it is not much to say that design is like a birth of everything in our society.
제가 생각하는
So to me,
디자인 싱킹의 가장 중심은
at the very center of design thinking are two elements, which are insight.
통찰력이죠. 그리고
The second element is an alignment or consistency. So I think these two elements, insight and alignment, are at the very center of design thinking. So having these two words as a concept, I think we are progressing and we are carrying out our business based on these two concepts. When I was working for Samsung, I always kept these two words in my mind, and I developed a design for the Galaxy S8, and I would like to share with you the stories behind. So first, when we think of the word insight, insight refers to the thought that one person has. So every element plays into it. For example, where were you born and where did you grow up? For example, Busan, or the friends that you have, schools that you went, all the people you met, and also animations that you watched. Every single fact that you have will play into the insight that you gain. And there are customers and also clients that we have to, of course, to consider in doing our business. So having empathy with them is very important. So whatever you design, you really have to touch their hearts, right? Unless you touch or win their hearts, then your design will turn out to be meaningless. The second one is, in design project, you have to contemplate your design. So day or night, whatever you do, whatever you eat, even while you're in sleep, you have to consistently think about and contemplate the project that you are doing. And also you have to have a full understanding of your project as well as the information. You need to be able to read the market trend. So you have to really be able to read the mega trend in design, and also you have to recognize what strength that you have as a designer. So you're good at typography, you're good at playing with the colors and the font. You have to be well aware of the what strengths that you have. So there are so many different factors playing into. Then you can fully utilize your insight. Then another important element is to have empathy with your customers. So whenever you explain your design to customers, you really have to have them persuaded by your design. You have to tell them why you have to choose us for this design, and you really have to touch their hearts based on empathy. And of course, the direction of a project could be completely different from your intention if you fail to persuade your customers. So there were so many people I had to persuade when I was working for Samsung, because all the customers all over the world are the ones that I had to really persuade. As I was directly in charge of the design, I also had to persuade insiders in Samsung. For example, C-level people are the ones that I really had to win their hearts in order to release my design. And also clients. When I say clients, I would say telecommunication network providers or the companies who would buy design from Samsung. I had to persuade them first. Next element is alignment, which is a consistency. So from conceptualization all the way to really persuasion and also to the market entrance, context-wise, there has to be consistency and also alignment. So finding a common ground throughout the journey is very important. So when I designed for Galaxy S8, I would like to further elaborate what stories that I utilized in order to persuade these many people. So as you can see from this slide, home screen, icons, and also app design, literally I had to design everything. I had to really set the direction for all these different features and applications. So I first had to persuade the C-level. I had to also persuade the customers and also clients and also telecommunication net providers. Whatever they asked me, I really had to have the right answers to persuade them, so that whatever products are released based on my design, it could be welcomed by the market. So from S1 to S7 and also the S8, there's a huge difference. Can you recognize the biggest difference between the version from S1 to 7 and S8? That's right. What you mentioned is right. It is one of the answers that I expected. One of the biggest differences is that the physical button is gone from S8. You can see the same can be said of the iPhones. So there was what we call home button at the very bottom for S1 to S8, but it is gone from S8. In order to have the bigger screen, Samsung logo is also gone. So till the version S7, the ecosystem for S7 and also ecosystem for S8, it was completely different. So we could even call it as a paradigm shift. So as I was the person who was in charge of UX design for a screen with a home button, it was very challenging for me. So when we look at the specifications of this Galaxy S8, so it was 16:9, but since we decided not to have a Samsung logo, the bezel size got bigger to 18:9, and since we decided not to have one button, there was a huge change that we only had to control the screen with a software button. And also there's a new display environment, what we call as infinity display. And also it has lots of different trials like waterproof and also dust-proof features embedded. So in order to really have empathy with the customers and clients on this Galaxy S8, I had to come up with different keywords. The first one is borderless. Literally there are no borders. So let me tell you how I persuaded customers using this borderless design. So unlike S7, literally I wanted to make it borderless, and also I want to move away from the 16:9 screen ratio. There are no borders between home button and also screen. So I use the word borderless in order to really describe this innovative design. So when we combine the product and also these keywords, literally it boils down to innovative design, which is borderless. So I could find the common ground between myself and also sea level.
되고
And I also try to get rid of the visual borders and also provide for aesthetic designs and designs for core functions. So that is how I try to create this empathy or understanding with our customers. So this is as is display design and this is SA designs. So if you take a look at the difference, so you can see the settings, you can see for everything there are borders. And so far, up until S7 is very different from what we try to convey in S8. So borderless, so app title, buttons, and the borders between the icons, they were all gone. So if we actually show this first without creating the sympathy or empathy, then people might feel uncomfortable. I mean, some of them might complain that I am not really getting it. So that is the approach that I took. So first, creating the sympathy and then move on to the design and sharing with the C-level executives as well as the customers. So dial display is different, as you can see. On the left side is to be and the right side is as is. So it became much simpler. So based on this design, I mean, we have been developing up until now based on this design. And this is the rounded, seamless concept. So the compactor was very rounded and seamless compact design was the core of the design concept. So we wanted to reflect that concept into different icons and UI, UX design. So Samsung actually really liked this idea, having this design concept reflected into the display or and the icons. So Samsung actually wanted to have this concept reflected into this UX design. So this is S8. And as I mentioned, you can see rounded corners and 3D image can be described like this. So you can see the rounded corners. So that is the very beauty and design concept of S8. And we've created 3 icons like this. So because we don't have physical buttons anymore, so the software button became much more important. So in the middle, we have the home button, and on the right side, that is back button to go back. So we wanted to reflect the beauty of the hardware design into the software design. So as you can see, the home button is has rounded corners like this, and for 2D we only have X, Y, and I tried to come up with how to make it more multi-dimensional with 2D images. So if we have this image, then we can have some kind of a shade, and that can create like a 3D kind of image from this 2D image, 2D design. So this is how it looked like on the cell phone and smartphones. And based on this system, We created email icons and watch icons and weather icons. So we created all these icons, creating and utilizing this concept of light and shadow. And based on the weather, we had variations, and this is a typography that we've used. And we, like for all these concepts and designs and fonts, we've tried to have this alignment throughout all these designs. So light and shadow concept, and you can see how the icons are designed reflecting that idea.
카메라와
So cameras, message, and email icons.
뒤에 이제 컨테이너라고 부르는데 아이콘과 뒤에 합쳐지는 이 라운지 컨테이너에도
So
제공해서
we also had the color
메시지는 이렇게 그리고 멀티미디어
elements for the container. So we try to have the gradation, as you can see on the screen. And this is the final design that we came up with for S8.
그래서 이 보더리스와
So this idea of borderless and rounded and seamless, and it actually was reflected into the marketing strategies. So we, you can see, so you can see how it is reflected into the marketing strategies.
There now are screens of choice to enjoy everything from TV shows to mind-blowing games. But smartphones still look the same as they did a decade ago. Buttons, bezels, and frames that all get in our way. Until now. Unbox your phone. Samsung Galaxy S8. The new Infinity display gives you an incredible full-screen experience, yet fits comfortably in your hand. We created it by reorganizing the phone's interior, making components smaller without sacrificing performance, and embedding the home button under the screen. We created the beautifully curved edge display and also erased the bezels to give you more space for the things that matter, creating a level of immersion you see and feel. Even games and movies are completely different with the Infinity Display's cinematic full-screen experience. And a bigger screen gives you the room to multitask seamlessly.
갤럭시 스토리를 잠깐 제가 들려드렸는데요.
So that was a story related to Galaxy Story. So do you use Galaxy here?
아이폰 쓰시는 분들
What about iPhones? Who uses iPhone?
아이폰 역시 많으시네요.
Oh, we have more iPhone users here. So after listening to our story, do you want to change it to Galaxy?
이제 안드로이드 갤럭시를 만들었던
So I participated and joined this project. So I've been using Galaxy for a long, long time. So I'm a biggest fan.
삼성전자 경험을 토대로
So based on my experience in Samsung,
경험을 토대로 이제 슬래시 창업을 했고요.
I established this company /B/N. Basically, we use this concept of NFT, and based on what I did in Samsung, and especially with UX design, I was able to establish this company.
뭐 BTS나
So BTS, Pokemon, Disney, Netflix, Naver, Webtoons.
보유하고 있고요.
So we own about more than 150 IPs. So we connect these IPs together with technology, NFTs. And we create more than 300 contents related to these brands. This is CL,
케이스를
and we created this
앱의 모든 요소들
contents, how it actually,
CL 콘텐츠로 바뀌게 됩니다.
so it uses the NFT technology, and fans of CLs can use this and also change everything, like interface related designs can be changed based on this NFT installed cell phone cases. And this is Pokemon, so we not only have smartphone cases but also wearable devices, and we also collaborate with designers like this.
또한 유니버셜 스튜디오
And we also worked with Universal Studio when Fast and Furious was open. So we created fan edition, and it was actually sold out.
그리고 통신사와
And we collaborated with telecommunication company, and
커마차는 독자 브랜드와
we've collaborated with Super Matcha,
현대를 출시해서 하루만에 완판을 또 하였습니다.
and it actually was sold out. We've made 1,000 of them, and it was sold out. So we don't just create NFT cases, but also we would like to expand so that people would love to use our cases more.
슬래시 슬래시의 미션은
So this is our mission. So we would like to make our mobile life more valuable, and we have NFC related technology as well as AI technology. So we want to create this new fandom experiences for different types of fans. So we have 3 strategies. So SLBS, smart product brand category, and we also have assess type integrated accessory platform. And for this year, like early this year, we've started the development for the Feel AI. So we've developed the AI engine so that we can create this interactive device platform. So our NFC experience can be connected and provide various experiences. So first is the first prototype, and Star Wars NFC can be installed, and the basic setting will be changed to Star Wars themed designs. And if you take out the case, then the contents will be gone, deinstalled. And we wanted, we actually developed a flip suit card, so because it will cost less, and we also have grip talk type and earbus type, and we put NFC technology in different wearable and different devices related to the cell phones, and collectible cards, and was also used so that people can use various contents, and it can be applied to apparels and bags so that it can be connected to cell phones.
그래서 저희는
So we started making NFC mobile cases, but we are more than that right now because we do the fashion and apparel and flip suit, as well as home appliances, toys, stationery, and sports, even automobiles. Because there's a huge demand for EVs. So we are trying to expand to include all these categories. So IP tech is our keyword for our company. So this sector is very big. It's more than 3 trillion one market globally, and based on B2B business strategy, we're trying to expand our business. So these IP holders, as you can see on the second box, are our customers. So 5G technologies, like we focused on technology itself and how it functions for marketing. But these days, it's not like that. We are doing marketing more focused on collaboration. So we had Starbucks editions and different limited editions for marketing. And for LG, telecommunication, it also uses like webtoon IPs or cartoon IPs to really connect to their customers. And the reason why we were able to secure more than 150 IPs is because we had this new category of NFC cases. So that is why we were able to quickly secure all these IPs. And we are official accessory partner of Samsung. So especially with Z Flip series. And we've used more than 100 IPs for very active marketing. And for Lotte Heimat and GS Retail, they also collaborate with us. And based on collaboration strategy, they're trying to do active marketing. So this is not just happening in Korea. So we wanted to take this strategy out to expand into the overseas markets. So Southeast Asian market, for example, and the US and Japan. So it was actually very successful in these global markets. So we are working with Sony, Amazon, Google, Verizon.
IP 홀더도 일본에 있는 IP 홀더사한테
So we also have a direct IP holder contract in Japan. So we are trying to expand very fast into this global markets. So I've shown you many different companies. So telecommunication companies. Why are they looking for collaboration with us? Because there's a power of collaboration. Why is it so valuable? Why are companies so eager to put their marketing resources into collaboration? So let me talk about this. So when we talk about fashions or millennials and Gen Zs, I think that collaboration, started from this luxury fashion brands. And I think it was very interesting to see the history. Do you know Supreme, this fashion brand? So this is very famous among skateboarders. And there was collaboration between Louis Vuitton and Supreme. Do you know him?
지금은 고인이 되신 오프화이트의 버질 라볼로입니다.
Bobolo. He has now passed away, and he was the creative director of Louis Vuitton, and he was very innovative director to show very interesting creatives. And not just Louis Vuitton but Gucci showed very unique and interesting collaboration, and you can see how it collaborated with Disney and Mickey Mouse. And look at this one. This is Doraemon, Japanese character, very popular one. Do you all know him? So back then, he was not really famous. He is Kai in EXO, this idol groups. And there was a collaboration with him, and it's Kai teddy bear collaboration. And all these companies are collaborating with different companies like Supreme, Off-White, and Doraemon, and Kai. So these high-end brands are trying to collaborate with all these less popular brands. Why? Because on the right side, all these brands have this unique culture code which will speak for our younger generation.
So, Supreme is a very famous brand among skateboarders, and for those who are not so skateboarders, this brand became something like religion that everyone likes very much. So, like these examples, we have checked a very clear trend in culture code. So, skateboard, K-pop, animation, game, movies, pop art, sports, and fashion, F&B, webtoon, character, and luxury, all of which are culture code that the many young people would like. What we have collaborated with. So just like I showed you earlier, we/B/ is trying to collaborate with these many brands reflecting culture code. So I would like to share with you an example of how we reflected the culture code, especially K-pop. So as a first K-pop project, we have collaborated with YG Entertainment. So there's a FEBA started by the K-pop Demon Hunters, which is very strong K-pop trend, and also YG Entertainment is very famous entertainment company, and also we have worked with YG, also having the elements of Blackpink. So normally there are so many goods that the fans would like to have, for example, photo card, and also the cheering stick that they use, and also we have a smart product, and we just wanted to have our fans communicating with their celebrities. So we have used a slogan, a tight connection, and also there's a Lisa who is a member of Blackpink and also very popular among Southeast Asian countries, so that's why we entered into the market. And during that time, also Blackpink was chosen as a model for Galaxy Series 8. So we have carried out this campaign. So Under the campaign Thai Connection, Blackpink 80 Galaxy Edition was launched. As you can see, phone case and also charging pad and also sleep. So 3 million of them were launched. So this is a very special product package. Onto the charging pad, you can charge your phone on top of it. As soon as you charge it, then very special clips will appear so that you can communicate with your Blackpink celebrities. And as you can see from the bottom, there's a special gallery app dedicated to Blackpink. So all the news can be delivered to fans as a way of communication. So this very special application was also installed in this package.
네, 블랙핑크 에디션은 동남아지역
So Blackpink
환경으로
edition,
선정되는 일주일 만에
3 million of them were released and also launched, and all of which were sold out in Southeast Asian country. And many fans wanted to have the photos of Blackpink, and they bought up all the 3 million mobile phone package. So there's a very strong culture cord that we learned from this Blackpink version. So we came to expand our business in this direction. So after Blackpink, we have collaborated with JYP, especially Stray Kids. The celebrities belong to JYP. So we collaborated with the Stray Kids back in 2023, and their third album was launched in that year that we collaborated with. So back then, that's the album entitled The Special, and also Stray Kids topped the list, and also topped the list, especially Billboard chart, and also in many aspects. After BTS, they became #1 boy group after BTS. So along with the rise of the Stray Kids, we also started to expand our global business, and also we have come up with campaign Start to Galaxy, and then we also developed the global campaign to enter into overseas market, for example Korea, North America, Japan, also China, Southeast Asian market, all of which are 5 key reasons that we have launched. So I would like to share with you advertising video clip on Stray Kids. So mobile phone case, earbud case, tablet case, and also watch strap. All the products that we develop are featured in this video clip so that we can enter into the global market.
Meet the whole new galaxy. Be the new. SLBS.
네. 이 광고를 통해서
So,
저희가 개발한
by carrying out this campaign, the Flips card that we have developed, we sold 1 million of the cards only within the second quarters. And then this brand was well known to the market, and it was only 50 million followers onto our SNS, but our followers, the number went up by 1,000% after this global campaign. So thanks to the huge success of the first campaign, we also developed other campaigns in order to better communicate with the fans. And one of the campaign that we launched was a cover dance challenge, and also we developed a SLBS mood song and carried out cover dance challenge. So Super and Sunepa members were very popular back then. So we have developed guidelines for this challenge, and also to the fans of the Stray Kids. Also, we have developed this kind of campaign in order to deliver thanks message to fans all over the world. So this cover dance challenge was just the beginning, and more than 10 million fans all over the world also participated in this challenge.
SLBS, SLBS, Express, Impress, SLBS, Express, Impress, SLBS, Express, Impress, SLBS, SLBS, Express, Impress, SLBS, Express, Impress, SLBS.
SLBS.
So, by working with the Stray Kids of JYP, we've been very aggressive in launching global campaign, and then we decided to work with the Hype, BTS of Hype. Back then, BTS started to do their military service, so they could not be with us. And then BTS was about to celebrate 10th anniversary of the BTS, so we carried a very special campaign. So we also installed pop-up stores in Gangnam area, in Seoul and Potter, and also Dynamics, all of which are very famous songs which are contained in 10th album. We used our graphic in order to develop lots of different smart products, and that was displayed on lots of pop-up stores in Gangnam. So when we collaborated with a big brand and also IP of a fandom, we thought that there's a huge potential to tap into for our business. So thanks to the huge success of the K-pop, we are continuously searching for where the next fandoms exist. And then the next destination for us was the game industry. So among the mobile games, about 2 years ago, there's what we call sub-console game. And then that is like a wish version of the Wonjin and the Hoyeon of the next, and also Nickel of the Shift, and also Block Archive, all of which are game companies. They started to come up with the next sub-game culture. So we collaborated with Wonjin over the Hoyoverse, and then we also launched a domestic campaign in Korea. So in Wonjin, there are so many characters. So the game users collect the characters and also items. So there's a Millu, which is a very famous character of Wonjin, and then we developed a Wonjin edition. So when you tag these products, then you can have these characters appearing on your mobile phone. And also till Bixby, the voice of the Miller will be used for the Bixby on the Galaxy phone. So from Genshin Impact, so everything was sold out within 5 minutes after launching. So the price was $320, and the reseller's price went up by 2 times. So you can see that there was huge success, and also we came to launch the first edition, second edition, third edition, all of which was sold in just a few minutes. So we learned that really this game is really popular one. Next, upon the outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic, there's a movement of retro culture coming back. So Simpson and also Tom and Jerry, Batman, and also Kiss and Smiley, all of which are retro characters. By utilizing the retro IP, we have also selected old character but famous out of the retro characters. Then there was another global campaign that we have launched to the world. You can see Sticky Monster Lab characters, which are the characters developed in Korea, and also Kiss, Harry, Tom, Jerry, and also Simpsons are the characters that we also have collaborated for our global campaign.
What's your color? Oh, it's blue like mine. So I run till I feel it.
And then next to culture code that we found, it is sport. So especially this year, maybe from last year, K sport started to gain popularity, and the number of audiences for the K League exceeded 30 million, and also a lot of fans are gathering around in order to cheer K sport. So we collaborated with Disney Mickey Mouse, and we carried out a project what we call Mickey and Friends in Seoul. And also thanks to the success of the Mickey and Friends in Seoul, we are also preparing for Mickey and Friends in Busan in order to woo the sport fans in Korea. So there's no sound for this video clip. There are 10 teams for the K-baseball industry, and also we have used the Mickey Mouse, and this Mickey Mouse is wearing the uniform of each team and featured in this video clip. So it is a shame that Lotte did not make into the next game. So it is like a teaser video clip, and we brought this Mickey and Friends to Seoul.
성수동에서 KBO
So we've opened a pop-up store in Seongsu-dong, and we had about 350 products, and Mickey Mouse was actually there. And Mickey Mouse can only appear in one place. So if it is working in Korea, then you cannot see him in the US. So that is the Disney policy. So So we've invited Mickey Mouse to Seongsu-dong in Korea. So next year we will have him in Busan. So Mickey and Friends. This project is first tried by MLB, and we've actually seen the success story by the MLB. So we've launched similar projects, and it was also very successful. So based on campaigns through culture, using different culture codes, we've expanded into various markets. So we have total 18 partners in Asia, including Samsung and etc. And for Europe and Middle East, 6 partners, and 7 partners for Americas. So Busan, we have a headquarter, and we have a branch office in Seoul, and we also have American branch and China branch, and we also created a subsidiary in Japan so that we can enter into the new market in Japan. And since we are based on fandom culture, so Japan is one of our most important locations for our business strategy. And based on Stray Kids, we have established 12 stores across the world. So Seoul and Southeast Asia and the US, we have 12 stores. So this is a video, but it doesn't play, so I will skip this part. And together with Samsung, we were able to expand really fast. So Samsung needed content, and we needed like space venue. So we had a shop-in-shop strategy so that we can expand fast, and we are trying to follow the social responsibility. And until last year, starting from last year, we recycled so far 310,000 tons of plastic by using recycled plastics for our products. And we also work together with local artists. So we do many different social programs like that for our ESG values. And D2C and B2C market is also expanding, business is expanding, and we have a lot of subscribers and followers, as you can see on the screen. So we create smart products based on NFC tagging technology. So smart goods, we have 1.0 to 2.0, 3.0. So 1.0 generation is more about collection and owning of smart goods. So that is our definition of smart goods market 1.0. And market 2.0 has more functions and connection. So in the past, it was just about one-way products, but Market 2.0 had more connections between the users and the stores. So 3.0 is more related to artificial intelligence, and this year will be a different paradigm shift. Different paradigm shift for us, because we have developed the AI engine for our products. So it'll be more interactive between the two sides. So that is the vision we have for Smart Goods 3.0 markets. So the most important part of 3.0 market is Feel AI engine. So we define it as a fan emotion added by engagement layer. So the text and emoticons, based on all this information, we try to read fans' emotion as well as the weather data and etc. So based on the analysis we have, we would like to create a platform where fans can have more interactive experiences using our smart devices. So Feel AI voice and Feel AI sound. So we developed these two categories for Feel AI platform, and with these functions, we're trying to lead this market 3.0. So let me show you the prototype video. So you can hear the sound of dog barking, and it doesn't really respond to unfamiliar sounds. But if you hear familiar sounds, it will actually respond to it. So unrecognized voice, it doesn't respond to it. And mother, baby, so if it has already learned this data, then it will respond. So this is like two-way and interactive device. So especially we can create like a cheering device for K-pop concerts. So we actually have a lot of K-pop concepts. And next is Feel AI sound that creates music.
음악 생성 플랫폼을
So in this platform,
또는 음악이 필요한 굿즈들에 공헌시켜서
so it can be connected to different goods that requires music, and we create music based on this connection. So you can see mother and son, and then using this Feel AI sound, they can communicate better. So instead of just communicating with text or emoticons, they can use this AI platform and send musics related to their mood so that they can really communicate their emotion. So you can choose your gender and age, and you type in how you feel today, and if you choose a genre, then it will generate
음악을 생성할 수가 있습니다.
a sound every day.
멀리 계시는 어머니를 이제 그리워하면서 생성한 음악
So the son is missing mother who is far away. So let us listen to the song.
익숙한 커피 향이 번지는 아침 창가에 스며든 햇살이 눈부셔 분주하게만 흘러던 시간 속에 잊고 있던 평화가 인사를 건네 이 모든 것이 선물 같아 눈물 섞인 어제를 지나 비록
네, 저희 필 AI로 만든 음악을 들어보셨습니다.
So this is music generated by Feel AI sound, and we are actually seeing the rise of revenue, and every year it's increasing. Last year, it was 26 billion won. So we are expecting to see more increase this year. And we are also preparing for IPO. We have 6 specialists in our company.
곳에서 활약을 하는 저희 멤버들을
So these are our team members in different departments and areas.
클래식을 쓰려면 컬처 코드
So culture code, and especially IPs with big fandom.
디자인을 퍼스트로
And we incorporate design thinking to create smart devices. And we also incorporate technologies like NFC, Bluetooth, and AI. So that is what we are doing in our company. So we always create something new culture. So let me skip these areas.
요거는 빠르게 패스를 하겠습니다.
So let me skip these slides. And why Busan? I get this question a lot, and I believe because we are in Busan, we can do all these. So let me explain why later on. So I believe that Busan is a crucial and optimized city for a global business operation, and that is what we were going for at first. So Busan has Busan ports and airports, and you can see the level of trade going on in Busan. So we do have a lot of overseas business interaction in Busan. So we have many manufacturing bases in Busan and Ulsan area. Amazon, KDDI, the US, whenever we work with partners in US and Japan, we communicate with them via emails or through Zoom. So, I mean, there's no limit for us. And I believe that Busan is a great place to start a company. So if you are targeting a global market, and I think it is really good city to get your company started. And this is what we focus on these days. So in the past, like 1+1, so the price competitiveness was really crucial. But our customers are becoming smarter and smarter. So as you can see here, brand should be like an amusement park that provides various experiences and attractions. So customers can come to our stores and enjoy like an amusement park, like a Disneyland. So if you go to a Disneyland, you go there and enjoy different attractions and buy souvenirs before you leave. So that is what we are trying to do. So through various events, and we want to create experiences, like unique and special experiences for our customers, so that customers can actually buy these experiences. So that is the marketing strategy we take. So /B/ is making culture and sells culture. So that's it for me. Thank you so much. Now why don't we give a big round of applause to our presenter Jung Yong-jae. Thank you so much for your presentation. So let us move on to the Q&A session. So if you have any question, please raise your hand. Do we have any questions from the floor? Yes, we have a hand on the second row. So it was a pleasure to listen to your presentation, and you talked a lot about collaboration. And when you work with K-pop stars, of course, you have really big success, but I think there are certain challenges accompanied by it. So did you have any challenges? Yes, you're right. So K-pop is a big industry and has a big fandom. So it means we have more risks. So the emotions and sentiments of fandom is crucial. So fans don't really like to commercialize their artists, like the artists they love. So we're trying to make all these products, and if we continue to commercialize these stars, then the fandoms would not really like it. So we try to make a campaign, so create this venue so that they can come to this space and have experience and have interactions with the stars. So if you actually don't know the emotions or sentiments of the fans and create something that's against their emotion, then it'll be not really good. So I mean, we learned that, and we try to make products that actually aligned with the fandom. We can accept more questions from the floor. So I'm from Dongmyeong University, and thank you so much for your presentation. So do you have designing experience related to Busan, and what kind of sympathy or empathy that you wanted to create if you had that experience? Well, it wasn't my presentation, but we actually had Mickey in Busan project. So we had a Mickey Mouse pop-up store in Busan. So we had Mickey Mouse in Haeundae area, and Mickey Mouse was there to take a selfie or enjoying daejigukbap, like popular food in Korea. So we had that kind of collaboration, and we've created various contents like that.
이걸 통해서 저희는 이제 지역 콜라보레이션도 굉장히 뒷편담 중에 하나입니다.
And I thought that the local collaboration has a big fandom too. So Mickey in Busan, for example, like K-pop in Busan, we are actually planning for the collaboration.
감사합니다.
Thank you for your answer. So the very last question we'll take.
네 번째 줄
So a lady who was sitting at the fourth row. Thank you for your lecture. I'm from Dongseol University. I'm a professor teaching students in design. So you told us about collaboration with academia, and what merits do you have and what expectations do you have from collaborating with academia and university? So the biggest difference between the industry and also academia is the output, the product. So because the speed of work happening and the scene is very fast, so exploring the targets and also designing based on the IP, there's a lack of time really to deeply contemplate all these issues. So for example, we can utilize a huge amount of research that we can get from academia, right? There are many good research available in the academia, and they give us the research that we want to have, so we can get insight from the research. So when we developed the product, from the insight that we gained from the research, the product was very much welcomed by the market. So our expectation is to carry out collaboration in the mid and long term, and that is expectation from us. Hope we answered your question. So this brings an end to the Q&A session. So hope that your business grows day by day and welcomed by young people in Busan. Please give them a big hand. So from now on, we'll take 20-minute long break, and then we will resume the second session. So after 20 minutes, that will be like quarter to four. Please come back and let us resume the second session. And for those of you who need interpretation device, please pick the receiver. So I will see you in a bit. Thank you. Our second part is beginning now. Did you enjoy your break? So we are going to make the second session of the event all the more fruitful. So the second speaker is going to talk about creative regeneration that expands from small buildings to larger neighborhood. And the second speaker is Gregory Kovas, design director from Norway. Please welcome the speaker with a big hand.
입니다.
Thank you. So, hello everyone. Today I will be talking about the city and how it kind of relates to materials. So, in the past couple of 100 years, there's a lot of new technologies that came into being, starting with the telegram, the radio, the TV, the internet, the mobile phone. And all of these devices helped us to connect with each other. But at the end, we feel a lot more disconnected than we have ever been. And we are living in massive cities with millions of neighbors. And again, we never felt so disconnected as before. So our practice is really interested in materials. So one thing that all of these technologies did is that they brought in a kind of a sense of immaterial connections, the digital world. And our practice is really interested in the real physical world, in materials. And we believe that materials have a possibility to connect with people and between people in a way that is very unique. And that's something that our practice is exploring. So starting with the dot. This was about 400 years ago when Robert Hooke invented the microscope. And he was looking at the world with the microscope. He was looking at dead flies, and he was also looking at the tip of a needle and the full stop. And he was really shocked to see that these seemingly very precise things are actually really imprecise. And this is where we see the opportunity with materials, is that they're actually a lot more rich than what you would imagine. And where Robert Hooke is very scared of what he's seeing, we actually see opportunities, and we are very excited about the odd shapes of the full stop. So our practice has been experimenting a lot with materials. This is a robotic painting where the robot moves the pen on the paper, and it just keeps it on the paper at certain points for a couple of seconds. And depending on the fibers of the paper and the quality of the ink, it just starts to spread its own unique ways. A bit like Hooke's full stop. And this is something that we are really interested about, how the imperfection of materials can give a sense of meaning and a sense of richness to our physical world. So all of this is just really driven by the different qualities of the paper and the ink. So zooming a little bit further out, looking at the grid. So the grid is again something that feels very kind of abstract, very immaterial as an idea. And we have been playing a lot with it, really trying to stretch the limits of the grid. And this is a installation of Toho Su, where he is again using the grid. I don't know if you can see that this is actually a very fine mesh, a grid, to create a sense of a space that is also very immaterial. Like at the same time, obviously it is a physical thing, but at the same time it does feel unreal or virtual. So we have been working with the grid to see how we can create a system where the grid actually falls apart, or where it kind of really stretches the limit of materiality. So in this relief, the lines that are scored onto this cardboard, they are getting actually so dense at a point that the paper itself starts to fall apart. And it starts to create this really interesting pattern. So these are the moments where we find that materiality can actually start to create meanings that were not really expected. This is a project that we have been working on in Shanghai, where there is an old power station that was demolished a few years ago, and we are working at a kind of redevelopment of the area and trying to bring back the volume and the space of that old power station as a slightly immaterial, a little bit of a virtual volume, using this grid facade that somehow feels real and unreal at the same time. Now, looking at textures, this is a really interesting project by Cornelia Parker, a British artist, where she was working with all of this silverware, and she just compressed them into these flat objects. And we've been working with these office staples and tried to create some kind of a relief out of them with this hydraulic press that actually compresses these two panels of staples with a certain amount of pressure, a very precisely controlled amount of pressure, to create these reliefs. So the relief and the texture of the relief is becoming a record of the exact tonnage of pressure that this was receiving. So this was actually 19.6 tons of weight on these two panels that created this diptych. This is another project that we did that was working again with pressure. This is embossing a pattern. So this is the embossing drum, and then you put this thin sheet of metal, stainless steel, in between the two drums to create this textured surface on the metal sheet. And then this same surface actually goes onto these tubes to clad them. And then the tubes go onto the building to create a veil around this cultural building in Shanghai. 3 layers of it. And then these 3 layers can move around the building as a curtain or as a veil to reveal a performance that might be happening on the terraces. And then you can experience also this moving veil from behind. So zooming a little bit further out, looking at facades, this is also in Shanghai where we created, this is a kind of laid out facade of a tower, trying to create a stone facade that has a continuous stone texture all the way from bottom to top. So there's this gigantic warehouse where you can lay out the whole elevation of a tower to create this continuous texture all the way on the tower facade. Again, trying to bring a level of richness onto the public realm. And then zooming further out, even further out, you can see how these stone panels are becoming more and more skinny and reveals more and more of the glazing as you look up at the upper parts of the towers. So, zooming again, a bit further out, we have been working with a lot of existing buildings, and it's a different understanding of what materials is. So a lot of the projects that we are doing is actually working with old buildings or existing buildings and doing renovations or adaptive reuse of these buildings. So this is one of the old buildings that we have been working with. It's an old shopping mall, and what we did on this project is we carved out a street on the facade, that connects all the way up to the cinema on the left side, and then creates a street that can be open even when the shopping mall is closed. So you can come out of the cinema at 11 p.m. and find bars and restaurants on the way down. So it's a way of giving a new life to these old buildings. This is another project in Fairy Mountain, where it's a UNESCO protected natural area, where we inherited this structure from previous architects who've been working on this site. And their vision for this site was that they would create this futuristic building. So when we started working on this project, we looked at how we could have a different vision for it, something that engages much more with the natural context around it and really blends with nature. So we opened this hotel just a few months ago, and the idea is that the hotel really these ribbons of the hotel just blend with the landscape around it. And then as it flows into the landscape, these ribbons are becoming smaller, and then they become these tea houses, cafes, and villas around this lake. So zooming a bit further out again, looking at the building, the city block, slightly larger projects. So this is another structure that our practice inherited. This is in Wuhan. So when we started working on this project, all of this structure again was built. And the original design by others looked like this. So we opened this project already a few years ago. We created a new facade on it that showcases all of the restaurants and bars and so on that is happening behind the facade. But it also creates a very flexible facade, a facade that can open up and close depending on what is happening behind. And it can really actively respond to all of the different requirements, whether it's about sun shading, or whether it's about a mechanical room behind the facade, or putting an advertisement on the facade. The system can accommodate all of these different requirements. And then this is the streetscape that this project is creating, that is getting people to walk around in this mini neighborhood on multiple levels, working with local artists to bring an additional layer of richness to the scheme. And really the changes are always, we are trying to be very precise and keep the changes very minimal. In this case, the changes are limited only to these small steel extensions. All of the concrete structures are retained in order to create a very different architecture that was originally envisaged in these projects. So zooming a bit further on how to work with communities. So this is a slightly larger area. This is the very heart of Singapore, the downtown of Singapore and Chinatown, where our project is at the busiest road of Singapore on this cross street. And then above it, there's a pedestrian route with a lot of restaurants, and our site is in between the two. So the interesting thing about this project is that one half of the project is 20 old heritage shop houses, about 150 years old. And then the other half of the project is a 25-year-old industrial-looking podium with an office tower. So the question was how you can actually bring these two things together. how you can create a dialogue between these kind of seemingly two opposite things, which are actually part of the very same development. So you see at the back, we have all of these heritage shop houses, and in the front, we have this big monster. So first we were looking at the inside of the building, how you can create a circulation inside that connects from the metro station into that big ugly podium, all the way to the back of the heritage shop houses to make them work together, creating a new kind of grand staircase that connects them to really activate all of these back parts of these heritage shop houses that are actually very difficult to access, and most of them are just standing there empty at the moment. And then bringing again life into these, or into the backs of these shop houses. So cafes, restaurants are moving into these. Then the most difficult part of this project was actually the facade. Is what can you do with this quite ugly building? So this is a project that actually many people know in Singapore because it's just so ugly and it's on the main street. So it has been an eyesore of the city, and we were looking at how we can create, somehow borrow the human scale rhythm of the old shop houses and trying to apply it onto this large podium to have the same sense of scale. And one thing that was interesting about the podium is that the columns, they were actually exposed. So all of these columns on the facade, they're actually quite visible. And we said, that usually is a problem, but we were trying to take advantage of this. Could we use these columns to create a rhythm on the facade and express them as a feature that actually really helps to bring that scale of the shop houses into this part of the development? So these are the newly finished columns. And this is that grid or that rhythm that it creates that is actually very, very similar scale to the old shop houses. This is the new facade and the new arrival from that main street. And we created a very permeable facade on this. So some of the podium is actually car parks behind. So the facade has a system that actually allows it to ventilate. So the car park can be naturally ventilated. And then some parts of the facade can also open up to receive planting and greenery. It also references a lot of the materiality of the old shop houses, taking those green terracotta tiles and the wooden structure to make the two kind of key material systems for the facade. Now, the second thing that we were working on this is looking at the entrance. So the original entrance into the office tower was this quite compressed, dark alley. And we increased the height of it to create a double high space to really make the entrance feel much more significant. So that's what it was before. We opened it up so it really feels like there's a sense of arrival. And then you go under that piloty space, and this is what you found there before, this quite compressed space, where we brought a lot of greenery, this reflective ceiling, and all kinds of tools to make the space feel much more welcoming and grand. These are the colonnades around the building with those exposed columns, and the sense of arrival into the office lobby. We also worked on the office tower. So this was the typical office space before we started working on the project. A lot of it was actually not rented out. And after the renovations, we took out these parapet panels. We created a space that feels much more open and tall. And now all the floors of the office tower are rented out. To the bottom part, into the before the eyesore podium, a lot of very good new brands started to move in. So this is a House of Progress by Audi that moved in, together with this special coffee called Burnt Ends. And this project that used to be an eyesore is now becoming a pride of the local community. So these are local influencers that are posting images online of the project. And there's also a tremendous amount of kind of carbon footprint saving by retaining the structure and upgrading the building. So this is how it looks just a couple of months ago when we opened the project. So zooming a bit further out, looking at kind of the scale of kind of whole neighborhoods. This is a project we did in Seoul, where again we inherited a lot of structure. We inherited 85 residential towers. And all of the towers looked pretty much exactly the same. So it was one of those really soulless developments that you can see in many parts of the world where you don't know where, you can't even find your own building. Everything feels the same, and also this building feels very much like a wall, very, very heavy. So on this project, we were working with a lot of computer simulation. We were trying to understand how people would actually be using this space when it gets built. So how people would be commuting from one corner to the other. What would be the busy streets and what would be the not so busy streets. And also in terms of, we did a lot of environmental studies of what are the spaces within the development that would actually have a nice climate and would also have plenty of people crossing by. So what are the active corners of this development? And try to turn those active corners into centers of mini communities. So rather than thinking about this whole 85 residential towers as one big development, what if we thought about it more as a cluster of different communities? And then these nice climate, lot of people passing by, nodes could become the centers of these community clusters. And then perhaps each of the clusters could have somehow a slightly different language on it, whether it's color or by other means. So when you are walking through these 85 residential towers, you actually are seeing more like 10 different community clusters. So as the older structure was already built and fixed, our scope was very much limited to the landscaping and to the facade. So we had these big wall-like buildings that I was mentioning at the beginning. And we were looking at how we can create a facade system that helps to break them down, that visually makes them not like a big wall. So we created this articulation on the facade where it feels like it's actually a whole lot of much smaller, much more slender vertical buildings next to each other, rather than just one big wall-like building. And then we did something that creates diversity across all the 85 towers, is we created two facade systems, one for the bottom and one for the top. But the datum between the top and the bottom, we were playing with that along the whole scheme. So there would be zones where it would feel very low-rise. And there would be zones as you are walking around, it starts to become much more high-rise. And then the upper part facade, we just kept it very simple with this very, very smooth, reflective finish that just blends with the sky. So the focus is much more on the bottom part. So focusing the colors and the more precious materials on the bottom half. So this project is on the site of the old Olympic Village in Seoul. So we were working with this idea of bringing the Olympic colors into the scheme and create a master plan that just kind of gradually shifts from one color into the other. So as you are moving through the scheme and the different clusters, the colors just kind of gradually change, and the heights of the buildings seemingly change as well. This is the arrival point into the project. And then moving a bit further out again. So, and arriving to Busan. This is a competition that we won, I think, maybe at the beginning of this year, for the revitalization of the Busan station area. So on this one, I would spend a little bit more time on, because I think this is something much more relevant for everyone. So I would explain this project in a bit more detail than the other ones. So you all know Busan Station. We were trying to really understand what are the challenges of this station, and also I think it's quite important for the locals, but also very important point for tourists, because most people who are coming to Busan are actually arriving through this point. So one thing when you come out of the station is the experience is a little bit confusing. You go through quite a few layers of buildings and landscape and open space until you get out of the station. And when you get onto the opposite side, which was the focus of our project, the street on the opposite side of Busan Station, you get to it, and it's kind of very difficult to walk on it. It's full of stuff. So you have these gigantic shafts. You have a lot of electric boxes. It's almost like as if it was not really mainly designed for people, but more for infrastructure. And it also feels very cluttered. Like it's a bit like my storage room at home. It's just full of stuff. These boxes, those boxes, lampposts, all kinds of things. And the problem with this, I mean, whether you like this aesthetics or not, is that it's actually very bad for the neighborhood, because it's hard to walk on it. It doesn't feel welcoming. Not many people go there. And then all of the surrounding businesses are suffering, and the whole neighborhood is suffering. So our strategy was these infrastructure objects that we have on the street, they're actually very difficult to move. So of course, it would be the easiest thing if you could say that, yes, let's just get rid of them and make a nice street. But we were trying to be a bit more pragmatic with them and say, what if you accept that these things have to be there? Can we somehow dress them up into something that feels much more welcoming for the street and creates a much more comfortable streetscape? So we started with the paving. How you can create a paving on the street and the curb that actually becomes more than just a surface to walk on, but can also be a wayfinding tool. So we can make the whole street a little bit less busy by taking out some of the signages that we have above our heads and put them onto the floor to create these gestures on the floor that can guide you, that can have messages, that can have even poems on it, and can also create a very nice undulating gesture on the paving. Because at the end of the day, many people, at least the tourists who are coming to Busan, they're actually coming here for nature. They are coming here for the mountains and the sea. Could there be something when they arrive here into Busan Station that already hints at these qualities that Busan has? So could we turn this street into something that already brings a sense of being on the beach? And then all of these boxes, these electric boxes that we have to have on the street, they could be almost like these pebbles on the beach. So in the middle, you have this kind of curb line for the wayfinding. And then for the rest of the presentation, I will just show you some of the objects and how we are treating them. So these are the electric boxes. There's many, many more. These are just 3. So could we dress them up? Could we clad them with something? And then maybe it could even become a planter on the top of it. So these things that again used to be an eyesore, they could actually be something that we are enjoying having around. And then this really big shaft that is there to ventilate the underground could again have the same language on it, clad it with these pebble-like objects, play a little bit with the heights of them, and then some of them still have to remain a ventilation shaft, but not all of them. Some of them could become planters, some could become seats. And then all of this object that used to be a blockage, it could actually be something that people can start occupying. And it becomes much more part of the street, and it becomes much more something that is designed for people rather than designed for infrastructure. Creating benches to make the whole streetscape much more inclusive for everyone. So some of these objects could be really kind of low elements that people can sit on and create that inclusive public realm. Now moving on to the bus stop. There's very few bus stops that you would want to stay longer than you have to. So our brief for this bus stop, could we actually create a bus stop where you enjoy being, and you might just sit there even if the bus is coming, you decide that I would stay a bit longer. So again, starting with these benches, planters, and then canopies to create shading and protection from the rain, and really create this mini garden space that can become the bus stop, but it can also become a space just to sit down and read your book. The next item is the lampposts. We are calling this the urban coat hanger. The reason being is that when we were looking at the on the whole frontage of the street, I think we counted about 20, 30 different kinds of lampposts on this not very long street. So we were looking at how we can integrate them, how we can have a consistent language, and the language that allows for all of these things to be stuck on it in a slightly more aesthetic way, but accepting the fact that these lampposts have to deal with all kinds of different conditions, whether it's a CCTV, a solar panel, or all kinds of signage on it. So we are taking the curb, the edge of the sidewalk, and seeing if we can just form the lamppost out of it as a vertical element that can receive all kinds of things like the lamp, the signage, and so on. So they can just slot in between these two metal trims. We have a lot of bollards and fences around our streets to protect the pedestrians. But they are usually not very nice. What we are trying to do here is, again, use the curb to create an object that is more than just a blockage. It can become a planter, and it can become a little bit of a buffer between the cars and the people to create this green layer at the edge of the sidewalk. So this is how the whole streetscape comes together. Busan Station is down here. This is the street opposite. Now, looking at the second phase of the development is how this can grow into something larger that really starts to influence the broader neighborhood around it. So this is the upcoming cultural district of Busan. I think the Opera House is almost completed right here. And then we have Busan Station and our street right here. So we were hoping that the street would help to slowly revitalize this whole area on the left. But we thought that there's an opportunity to do something much greater, is to create a connection between this older part of Busan and this new upcoming cultural district, and create a very strong connection between them, this axis through the station that could help to reinforce these two parts of the city. So I'm sure you have seen this. So this is the bus, the taxi rank next to the station, and it has this strange platform or bridge that is coming out of the station and kind of stops. And we were always wondering what happened here. Why is it stopping there? Could we actually continue this bridge across to the opposite side and really create a connection between the station and our side of the street? This is a project by Christo, where he created this temporary bridge where many people actually just wanted to walk across. Now we are trying to do something like this. Could this bridge become kind of like the icon or the gateway of Busan, the thing that you go through to arrive into the city? This is a similar bridge in London King's Cross. And what we are looking at here to turn the bridge into something that is not just about, it's not just about a very functional thing that I use to get from here to here. It's actually a place to be on. So first, as a first step, we are turning the whole bridge into something that is quite wide and can have a landscape on it. It's actually a garden or a park. And then within this garden, we carve out a path that you can cross through, you can sit down, and you can even have some artwork on it. So it becomes a sculpture garden, the real kind of cultural and landscape arrival into Busan, connecting with the opposite side of the street. And as you are walking on the bridge, the landscape changes. So some parts of it are very lush, some parts of it are bringing the waterfront experience of Busan, and even the beach part. So it's almost like a compressed map of Busan, showing all the different kind of plants and species and topographies that you have in Busan, together with the arts. So the goal of this was really to revitalize the whole area, create that connection. This is in Seongsu Dong in Seoul. We thought that was a very successful revitalization. So we were thinking that something similar could be happening in this part of Busan as well. And this whole area could become the new gateway into Busan. So that was our ambition with this competition. So zooming little bit further out, and why all of this matters. Why is materiality important? So when you look at the carbon emissions of our whole culture, of our entire world, about 38% of it is the construction industry. Is our buildings, our roads, is the cooling in the buildings, and so on. And out of this 38%, actually a bigger half of it, the orange part, is the building materials. The gray part is more about the operations, the cooling, heating, and so on. But you can see there's a very significant part that is directly linked to materials, building materials. And if we can find a way to reduce these, we can very significantly reduce the environmental impact of the whole industry. And if you look around the world, most of the countries signed up to become carbon neutral by 2050, including Korea. And the easiest way to get there is to reuse the existing buildings, to work with existing buildings, find them new purpose rather than demolishing and building new buildings. So that's one of the key kind of takeaways that I wanted to get across, is that how you can upgrade the existing buildings, existing streets, existing neighborhoods into something that works much better without having to demolish and build something new. So this is what our practice believes in. This is what we are working on. Thank you so much for your attention. And please, if you have any questions, we would love to answer. Thank you.
네.
Well, thank you so much for your wonderful presentation.
혹시 질문 있으실까요?
Do we have any questions from the floor?
우리가 사는 지역에 대해서 흥미로운 이야기 해주셨는데
So the presentation was very interesting and relevant to Busan. So do you have any questions?
우리 여기 세 번째 줄
So we have one hand on the third row.
I'm a researcher at Busan National University, and thank you so much for your lecture today. When outside experts, like the city outside experts, regenerate a city, they can sometimes face like criticism that from citizens that they don't know about the city well, or they just change it to whatever what's more fashionable, right? And to avoid that, like how closely and how long should they observe a city to really understand and achieve a really good results?
So when I started working in Asia, I started working in Asia from London. That was quite a few years ago, and I had the same impression: is that a lot of the work that we were doing from some of the best design practices in London was actually very often missing the point, or not understanding the culture, or even worse, having this extremely superficial understanding of the local culture. So after a few years, I realized that if I want to work in Asia, I actually have to move here. So that's what I did about 8 years ago. I moved over to Hong Kong, and I've been working on projects all across Asia from Hong Kong. And the way that I work is that Hong Kong is a very good central location. I can come to Busan, I can come to Seoul, I can come to Singapore very quickly. And I come very often. I come to Korea roughly once every month. And I can get that understanding of the local to some degree. But that understanding will always be a little bit limited. So I always work with local partners that actually have a good understanding of the local context, and the best projects come out of many dialogues. And it's not just us and our local partners; it's also local stakeholders like the design council and many other stakeholders that we have a lot of discussion with. So the best projects come out of conversations rather than a genius sitting in a room doing a sketch and this was it. So there is Mr. Yoon. He is our funding partner of the practice. He is sitting in Seoul, and all of these projects we are doing together with him and many other people. So it's a very collaborative process, and I really think the best ideas, the best things actually emerge out of conversations. They emerge out of misunderstandings in many cases, and things that at the beginning might look like as a compromise, but at the end, when you really follow it through, it can actually lead to something very exciting and new.
Yeah, it was a really good. Yeah, I learned a lot from your answer, and thank you for your dedication to Busan.
Thank you.
네, 감사합니다. 혹시 또 질문 갖고 계신 분 계신가요?
Other questions?
네. 그러면은 질의응답 시간은 여기서
So this brings an end to the Q&A session.
저희가 또 뜻깊은 시간을 마련했으니 저희가
So I think definitely it is worthwhile for us to take a group photograph. So speakers
준비가 되어 있을까요?
are invited to group photographing. So are we ready to proceed to group photo taking or not?
예, 알겠습니다. 어떻게 진행하면 될까요?
So are we ready to proceed to group photo taking?
예, 그럼 사진
Please let me know. So
지금 첫 번째 연사분이 먼저 퇴근을 하시는 바람에
The first speaker left, so I think we'll just skip the group photo taking. Again, please give a big hand to our second speaker, Gregory Kovacs, Design Director.
네. 아, 사진 찍으신다고요?
Sorry, we are going to take a photograph. So on stage? Do you mean on stage? We are going to take a group photograph? Yes, you're invited to group photo taking.
네. 여러분 좀 번복해서
Sorry to repeat myself. Because we are holding a very meaningful event, so to commemorate today's event, I would like to invite you to group photo taking.
네, 오늘 또 디자인 페스티벌의 피날레잖아요. 그래서 이 앞쪽에
So, with our design director, let's take a group photograph.